Congressman, the House, specifically House Republicans, going on the record today saying we will shut down this government unless we defund Obamacare. While at the same time, there's a circular firing squad, Republicans attacking each other, saying, no, we're not actually going to shut the government down. What's your takeaway with what happened today?
I think that the Republican leadership is acting almost childish. I mean, in other words, they're saying that they don't want the government to operate because they don't like the health care reform. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. The health care reform was passed 3 years ago. It's finally coming to fruition. It's going to cover 30, 40 million Americans that don't have health insurance. It's going to provide a good benefit package for people who may have insurance but don't have good benefits. It's going to make health insurance affordable. I mean, I could go on and on. It's the law of the land, and you don't just say, well, I don't like the law, and therefore I'm going to shut the government down. This is about the budget. It's not about the health care reform. I mean, the health care reform actually saves the government money and reduces the deficit, so there's no argument. It's just an ideology that they just don't believe that the government should be providing or helping with people's health insurance. And, you know, they lost that battle. This is the law. Let's move on and work out an agreement on the budget so that the government can continue to operate. There's been no effort on the part of the Republican leadership to sit down with the Democrats in the House or with the Democrats in the Senate. They just say, here's our budget, and you have to take it or leave it, you know, my way or the highway. I mean, it's almost like a temper tantrum type of thing, and I don't quite understand where they're coming from.
And I'm curious because voters have heard so many fiscal cliffs and budget deadlines, and we've had so much last-minute negotiating in the last couple of years. How dangerous is not only a government shutdown, but even just the threat or the leaving to the last minute of a possible shutdown or debt limit break?
Well, Andrew, the problem here is there is no negotiation. In other words, that's the danger. In other words, normally when you get within 10 days of the end of the fiscal year, there is some effort to negotiate with the other side. I mean, remember, you have a Democratic president, a Democratic Senate, and a large minority of Democrats in the House. You can't just ignore us all because you happen to be in charge of one House and say, well, that's too bad. You know, you just better get rid of this health care reform. Otherwise, we're not going to even negotiate with you. I've never seen anything quite like it. And I think that's why they're in chaos, why the Republicans are in chaos amongst themselves, because a lot of probably those who've been here for a while say, well, what are you doing? You're not even negotiating with the Democrats.
Just from the straight politics of it, Congressman, a lot of folks say maybe the best thing that could happen for the president and for Democrats would be if Republicans took us over the cliff and shut the government down, that there'd be such a backlash against the GOP. Why not call their bluff and actually let them shut the government down?
Because it's not a good thing. I mean, obviously, if the government shuts down vital services, I mean, for example, the payment, just as one area, the payment of doctors under Medicare ceases. So, you know, doctors may decide that they don't want to see Medicare patients anymore. You know, everything grinds to a halt. There's a real danger, whether it's Homeland Security or defense or whatever it is, of the programs that, you know, take care of people in need, like Meals on Wheels, senior centers. I mean, anything, nutrition programs, all these things come to a grinding halt, and it's not a good thing for the country or for the economy.
The bill that the House passed today goes to the Senate now. It's expected that the Senate will pass the budget portion and leave the Obamacare defunding part out of it, sending that back to the House. Will House Democrats, including yourself, work with Speaker Boehner if he wants to try to get it passed with just that half of it, leaving aside the defunding of Obamacare?
We've said from the beginning that the Democrats are more than willing to work with the Republicans on the budget. So, you know, if you eliminate this health care reform aspect by saying you want to get rid of the health care reform, then there's no problem. There's no problem even now. I mean, they're not sitting down with us. They haven't asked the Democratic leadership in the House and the Senate to sit down and negotiate anything. But clearly, if they take out the effort to repeal or defund the health care reform, that would be a step in the right direction and make it easier to come to an agreement. The problem, though, Andrew, is that we don't know exactly when the Senate is going to pass, that amendment without the health care reform. And the House leadership adjourned the House until next Wednesday. So, we're getting closer and closer to the last day of the fiscal year, September 30th, when the government would shut down. So, they should actually just keep us here rather than going home until next Wednesday. But yeah, I hope that cooler heads prevail and the Republicans are willing to sit down with the Democrats and work this out. That's what has to be done, Andrew.
Well, no, and people wonder why there's so much antipathy among voters about Washington as the chaos continues once again. Congressman, thanks very much. Appreciate a few minutes.
Thank you so much. Take care.